presents Game Club Episode 3.
Well, welcome back. It's just me, James Yule, and Chris Carmen today. We'll be talking about Enter the Gungeon. That should be appearing on your screen any moment now. And this is an interesting game. It's, for one, it's a roguelike, so meaning the game stages you play are randomly generated, and you pretty much have one life to live until you die. And when you die, you start all over from the beginning, although there are unlocks as you go. And but on top of being a roguelike, as you can see, it's kind of got that old Zelda perspective and kind of an isometric. Is it isometric or is it just straight down? Kind of a bird's eye? Yeah, it's bird's eye. And it's also somewhat of a bullet hell game. Lots of funny thing, bullets shooting guns at you. So that's pretty funny when you play the game.
I love the inception-ness of it all.
yeah, it's really good. I really love Enter the Gungeon. I've never been a big fan of roguelikes, but I do love bullet hells. I do love bird's eye view in certain games, and I like the art style of this game too. So I was really into it. So Chris, what's your take on it?
So when this came up on the schedule, I was not looking forward to it, I gotta say. I'm not a fan of the top-down view kind of thing. Being the old men that we are, we probably remember all these from the first time around.
Yeah.
And they were good enough for their time, but I liked to leave them there. Once the game world went 3D and over the shoulder or first person, I went with it and didn't look back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I came into this with a little bit of bias against it. And not a big fan of bullet hells either, roguelikes. It just makes me nuts after a while.
Everything was working against itself when pleasing you.
So I started playing it, and I have to say, it really surprised me. I actually enjoyed it. It's addictive in that way a good arcade game should be.
Yeah.
You know, where you just, like, if this was sitting there and I needed quarters to play it, I would be pumping in quarters for hours.
Yeah, it'd be so good.
Yeah, I would be so broke.
It's one of those games that kind of makes you miss the days of arcade.
Yeah, a little bit. Had kind of that nostalgia feel.
Yeah, I kind of wish like my computer had just a coin slot so I could shove coins into there.
Maybe we should make one and market it.
That'd be great. Yeah, but anyways, I played Enter the Gungeon for a bit before it became our game of the week. I had fallen in love with it when it became a PS4 release. That's where I first started playing it. Was on the PS4, although we played some of the PC version of it for the recording today, and I just love it. Again, I like bullet hell games. I like that sort of Zelda perspective. And usually randomly generated environments don't impress me too much. I find them to be not very satisfying, even though it's kind of cool that they're made right there on the spot for you. I just find them not very satisfying for some reason. But this game, mostly satisfying. And there's a lot of nods here and there. There's a lot more secrets in the stages than what is at first noticeable. Like, for example, we're during the last recording that Chris and I did, although that recording probably won't make it onto the podcast or onto the show, is that there's fireplaces in the game that can actually be put out if you have the right weapon, and then that can open up further secrets. Things like that are actually all throughout the game, and you don't really notice it at first. It seems like those secrets aren't there.
Yeah, it looks really simple when you initially check it out.
Yeah.
But then the more you mess with it, the more you see that there was a lot of work put into it.
Yeah, and there's a lot more than what I just explained. There's a lot more interesting things there, and when you get into deeper stages in the game, the environments change up too. And something I like about it is there's certain things you can do later on in the game so you don't have to do like the first or second or third levels anymore, that you can kind of skip forward to the more challenging things once that's like you've gotten used to the game, which I really liked. And there's also a lot of really fun and interesting guns. I remember one of the guns, we're not going to spoil them all, but I don't even think I've gotten them all yet. One of the more interesting guns that I liked was a chicken gun, that when you shot things, like every third bullet was like a colorful bullet that would change the enemy into a chicken.
I haven't seen the chicken gun.
Yeah, and the first time that happened, I didn't even realize I had done it. I was like, "What the heck is a chicken running around the stage for?" And I went up,
kick it.
Yeah, I was gonna kick it. Then you just stomp it to death. And then in the next room, I realized I'm the one turning things into chickens, and I was super stoked about that.
This game really feels to me like, I mean, obviously most people who make games play games.
Yeah.
But for some reason, something about this feels very much to me like the people who made the game are a big fan of this genre.
Yeah. something I like about it too is it's just hard enough, but not ridiculously difficult. I'm a huge fan of Hotline Miami, but the thing is, you get about halfway through Hotline Miami, and I can't hold up anymore. Like, it gets way too hard for me.
Get good.
Yeah, get good. Well, what happens is you get to a certain age, and that's just not an option anymore. Those Twitch skills go right away.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, it is. That's why I have to start playing the slower RPGs and stuff like that. Things you can focus less.
Right.
And what else I like about this game? I wish I actually played a bunch of hours of this game with Jose, who would have been here this week if it wasn't for some snafus. And Jose and I did co-op. I think that was something I really liked about it, is it actually has co-op, or couch co-op. I'm trying to make a big deal of couch co-op. It's which is kind of a disappearing thing. Like, the last big AAA couch co-op game that I enjoyed was Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and the other Borderlands games before it. So it seems like couch co-op is kind of getting replaced or put down because everybody's doing multiplayer online, right?
Right.
But this game has a really nice couch co-op system.
Almost like a Contra feel.
Yeah. I do have I think there's a little bit of a drawback in the co-op. You can't you would think that what they would do is just let you pick two characters, right? You could pick one of the characters and the other person could pick one. But they have a co-op specific character.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Who is a little bit nerfed compared to the other ones. And it's not that the other person can't have any fun. You get a gun. You can get more guns as you play through the game. And ultimately, if you make it past the first chamber, then everybody's happy. But that first chamber, especially when you're new to the game, you're still trying to figure it out, it does feel like the co-op character is a little nerfed, only having one gun.
Can he steal your lives?
No, he can't steal your lives.
That would be a great little reference.
Yeah, but how it does work though is when you're playing co-op, if one of you dies, then they become a ghost on the screen who can, like, about once every 20 or 30 seconds kind of do a force release where, like, kind of some energy kind of comes out from you in a circular fashion, and it takes a very minimal amount of power away and kind of pushes some things around. So the co-op partner can still be helpful. Yeah. And then what happens is if you come to a room that has a treasure chest, usually it'd give you a gun or some kind of item or whatever. Instead, when you open up that treasure chest, it'll be a new person for your co-op partner.
They can get back in.
Yes, and get back in. And I think that although there's part of me that just wants to be able to have lives or wants to not have to give up a gun to bring back my partner, it does fit the roguelike philosophy, right? That death should have consequence.
Right.
And so that's what they do for co-op. They figure out the consequences. You're going to be giving up your chance at a good gun. And I suppose in the realm of roguelike, that's an appropriate sacrifice. Yeah. So
do we even need to vote on this one?
It's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. I mean, I'm going to give a vote, but I'm going to give a vote because I think it's totally worth purchasing at full price.
Now, how much is it on the PlayStation Store? Just out of curiosity.
I want to say it's $14.99.
Yeah, so that's why I paid for it on Steam. But I think $15, no brainer.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it's definitely really good. I think at first glance, if you just watch a video like even this video we're doing for today, you might think to yourself, that looks more like $9.99, and that extra $5 might be a little bit painful. I think I might have been like that when I first purchased it, but honestly, no, it's totally worth it. I would probably even spend $19.99 on it, knowing what I know, which is, it's a little tricky, kind of knowing that you're gonna love it before you buy it. I guess you can play it at a friend's house and find that out, especially once you realize how deep the game is. And like how many secrets there are, and how awesome it is to sort of just get deep into the chambers where there's a lot more interesting things awaiting you and much more interesting guns awaiting you. I like the nods. A lot of the bosses are kind of a wink to something. The only one I'll give away, because you often play him first or second, is it Gatling Gull?
Yeah,
right?
Gatling Gull.
Gatling Gull, I'm not sure if anybody has officially said this, but I think everybody can agree, it seems to be a nod to Vulcan Raven in the first Metal Gear Solid game on the PlayStation. Vulcan Raven was this big hulking guy carrying a Gatling gun around, and he was surrounded by ravens while you were playing the game, and at the end of that fight, he gets eaten by his own ravens. And I think Gatling Gull must be in reference to that, and because there's some similar stuff in the whole Gatling Gull fight and some of the imagery. And I appreciate that. I like it when games remember heritage. Something about that's charming to me. And I think that's what it comes down to. The game is fun and it's charming. There's a lot of charm to it, and there's a lot of it captures something that's kind of hard to describe, but you know it when it's there and when it's not there, which is just the addictive fun of a game. You can sometimes have games that are designed with all the right pieces, but at the end of the day, you don't really want to play it more than 5 minutes. But this game definitely gets that hook into you where you really want to sink your teeth into it. You really want to start playing it and exploring it. And I think with co-op, it's even better. Although you end up, in the case of Jose and I, we were probably more of a thorn in each other's side, making fun of each other for getting hit at the wrong times and for not like doing the jumps correctly and things like that. So there you have it, folks. Enter the Gungeon. That's we both Chris and I'm pretty sure Jose would say as well. Totally worth the $14.99. Totally worth your time. It's gonna get its hooks into you. And if you like, follow us on Twitter at fandwgameclub. You can also send us emails about game requests or observations about games coming up, or even questions that we can discuss on fandwgameclub@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at JamesYuile, and you can find Chris on Twitter at Marion Ranch, and you can find Jose on twitch.tv/bumfoot. That's with 2 M's. Have a good day.